Hello guys, and welcome back to the third part of our tutorial. So without wasting time, let's continue. What we want to do right now is to create the platform or the floor upon which this 3D text, our 3D text, is going to sit upon. So we are going to change our view to our right view. Zoom out a bit, just to create some space there. Now I want to show you how to use the path tools or the spline tools, right? So we are going to start with the Bezier spline tool. That's what I'm going to use right now. So you click on the first point, then you click on the third point somewhere else there, on the second point, and then third point. I think I'll make it a bit like that. I'll click and hold just to create that smooth, that curvish, and then I'll click up there somewhere else. That's our last point. Then I'll select my live selection tool to edit the point, zoom in, then go to this point right here and make it flash just like that, and then I'll go. It's just a matter of eyeballing and just making it to be a bit nice. So I'll stop talking and you just sit and watch what I'm trying to do here and do the same. All right, that one like that, this one maybe a bit up there, maybe somewhere there. I think that's it, straight. So we have made this sort of L-shaped, nice fallback, so to say, we can say that fallback background. So I will jump to my perspective view and take a look at the spline in my perspective view. Right, that is it. That's what we have. Now next we are going to insert an extrude NURB, right? An extrude NURBS, put it in there. Next, what we have to do is to drag this spline into the extrude NURBS. Remember, extrude NURBS will only act if it has children under it. So it will affect its children. So right now there is no parent to child relationship between the spline and this extrude NURBS. So what I'm going to do is to drag the spline into the extrude NURBS, and from there I am going to look at this and say, okay, fine. As I said from our previous tutorial, we said this is X, Y, and Z. So in our extrude NURB, this is our attributes. So what do we want to do? We want to increase the X axis, at least to have some sort of, the platform. To create the platform, we need to increase the X axis. So it's X, Y, and Z. Right now we are increasing the Z axis, which is of no effect as of now. We cannot see the effect. Of course, if we try to maybe view it from here, I think we're having some Z effects because we have a 20 centimeter increment. This is a 20 centimeter. So if we try to hit render, we have that thing showing up there. That's the thing, that's the effect. I hope you understand what I mean here. So what we want to do is mostly just to have the to extrude it along the x-axis. So what I'm going to do is to zero this up, make it a 0, and maybe increase our x-axis to something like 1,000. 1,000. So that is 1,000 centimeters. That's what has happened. So I think we can go ahead and increase it maybe to something like 5,000. There we go. So we have our 5,000. Sorry, we have our platform. Maybe 5,000 is too much. Anyway, just put it there. So next is to anyway, let me just drop this to 3,000. Sorry. 3,000. Cool. Now from there, there we have our extrude NURB and our platform showing. So what we can do is to select the extrude NURBS, move it a bit to that point somewhere else there, and now if you try to zoom in right on our text, and maybe I like it at this angle, sorry, at this angle, and there, if we have our platform there, something like this, and maybe just zoom out a bit, you know, yeah, I think something like this will do. This will do. There, if you try to hit render, you will find out our text is now sitting on a platform, which is having some sort of a backend, you know, nice backend there. So what we can do is to grab my text, maybe go in the front view. In the front view, sorry, not the front view, but in the right view. If I try to zoom in as well, I want to make my text, as you notice, I think our text was kind of, you know, it's kind of going through here, because if we go under there, it's kind of, you know, showing down here. So I want to make it, you know, a bit flash with the plane, with our extrude NURBS. So we can either just put it up there. I think that would do. Yeah, without going into the right view, I think that would do. Yeah, just put it there. Put it there. Now maybe I have that view. And next is just to add some texture for us to make it a bit interesting and nice. I hope you have gotten what I've just done here. If you have any questions, you know, drop them by, and I'll be glad to help. But that's the basic. This is the text that we have. Next is to add some textures to it. So we double click here to have a texture, and I'll drop it on the plane. And I would duplicate it by simply holding the Control key and dragging the texture. Now I have my second texture. I'll apply that to my extruder, to my text, which is the MoText. Now I will double click on the texture which has just been added to the MoText, and maybe change its color to something like I'll go ahead with paperish. Yeah, there. Have a paperish color, our paperish text, and maybe our plane, just try to make it something like a bit white, completely white, straight white. And yeah, next to try hit render and see what is happening. There we go. We have our basic 3D text sitting on an extrude NURBS. All right, now what we can do to make it a bit interesting and to make it a bit realistic is to maybe add a bit of light and all that. But first step, I like to always add some shadows, right? So what I do is to go to render settings. Let's now discuss one of our render settings, effects. So we are going to go ahead in the effect. Now we are going to be looking at ambient occlusion. So what happens if I add ambient occlusion? I click the ambient occlusion, I close this, and then I try to hit render preview, just to preview it. You will see that we are now having some shadowing. Now what ambient occlusion does is to it's to at least try to calculate to see which objects are closer together. The closer the objects they are, it creates a shadow between some sort of shadowing between them. So as you can see here, we have this W here, this space is actually closer to the ground, so we have something like, you know, some shadows there. Here, this one, this edge and that edge is kind of, you know, far from the ground, you know, the shadows is kind of fading there. Basically just creates shadows, you know, it creates shadows where they needed to be. So right now we have our shadows showing and our, you know, our text showing and that. But then you might notice that from this view, our extrude NURBS color, our extrude NURBS color, I think I will just have to rename that to something like floor, you know, just not to confuse you. You'll find out that when we rendered it, our floor color was kind of grayish here, and yet we have a white color here, and that is because we have not yet introduced light to our scene. So let us introduce a light to our scene and maybe raise it just up there, a light, something like that, and make that into one. You have the light here, and now its attributes. So right now we are just going to be looking at the general attributes. We are not going to go into details on all those, you know. So we are going to be looking at the type of light. Right now it's an omni light. So I will change that to area to something like I think I'll just leave it back to omni light, and maybe just duplicate that light, right? I'm holding control and I'm dragging the very same text, control and dragging, and I have a second light added. So what I'll do is to at least have a view or to see where I can place this light. So I'll move it here. Maybe it has to be in front of the text, so I'll try to orbit around, something like that. Just try to put it there, somewhere there. And this light, that is the light, try to increase it maybe even more, and try to reduce the intensity, that is how bright it is, and that one try to decrease the intensity as well. Maybe try to now see what is going to happen on our scene when we have added that light. The other part is just to at least just try to hit your render previews and see how bright your scene is. Right now it's way too bright. I don't like that brightness at all. It's way too bright. Maybe I will have to maybe change the floor to something like grayish or something like that, but I don't like the intensity at all. So basically, yeah, we have now lightened our scene. I think I'm not trying to make it perfect, but I'm just showing you how you can light and all that, maybe try to make it a bit realistic and all that, but this is the basic thing. So if I try to hit it to edit my my floor texture to maybe something like a bit like grayish, not all that perfect white, grayish, and try to reduce the intensity of my light to something like maybe yeah, I think 60 will do. Yeah, 60 there. And it's always a good idea to name your objects as well. So this, I'll name it to top light, and the other one I'll name it to the front light, which is front light, right? And let's try to hit render and see what is going to happen to our text. Hit render, check that out. At least, yeah, this is all right. It's all right with me. I think the light intensity is quite fine with me. Yeah, it's kind of slow. Anyway, yeah, I just want to see the shadows down there, if everything is working. Yeah, I think that's good. All right, that's good. That's all right with me. Next is to yeah, I think we are done here. Maybe I just have that view. And maybe you want to produce these for a poster, maybe some kind of poster, the Edward event, right? I think I should just add some text there. At the Edward events, I think that's really cool. Let me just increase the size of my text, maybe a bit. Maybe they have to be bigger, something like that, and maybe just yeah, move them somewhere there, and then I will try to duplicate my more text by simply clicking there and holding out, dragging the text, or dragging. Why is it not working? Sorry guys, some of these things. Anyway, I'll just add another more text, and in my more text I'll type in event, the Edward event, right? That's cool. Now we'll bring it up here and choose a different font. Okay, this is going to take some time to load the fonts here, and we are going to use Velocity, just the very same font. I think we should use a different font right now. Let's use something like Helvetica. I love Helvetica, dude. Let's add Helvetica there, compressed, Helvetica compressed, and we reduce its size to something small, just like that. It's the Edward event, it's not a big deal, just the Edward event. Some sort of, yeah, yeah, there. I kind of like this angle, so what I'll do is to add a camera by simply clicking there, clicking there. All right. Next, I will navigate. That is to check I want to rotate my text here to some kind of angle. There's some nice angle, so what I'll do is to rotate this text, right? By the way, yeah, I'm using the mouse. I think you can already see that I'm using the mouse, and you know, the right now I'm rotating it around the y-axis, so you know, that's what I'm rotating there. So I want it to be something like that. So if I try to you know, maybe pull it backwards just that it's flush with the text. The other part is just a matter of, you know, just checking out and see what's going to happen. So I hit rotate. The other shortcut for rotate is R on the keyboard. So you can simply hit R on the keyboard and you have rotate. You can rotate your text. Sorry. So I'll rotate it along the y-axis, something like that. Now we changed the camera view, right? Right now I'm using the editor's camera, but then you can see that this camera that I inserted is right here. Now how can I go into that camera? How can I view this scene through that camera? Well, I'll go here, click on that, and I have my my camera activated. Right now I'm in the camera. All right, the camera view, the right camera view. So I can move my camera from there, maybe to something like that, something like that. And now I can try to be rotating my MoText, which is the event. Try to rotate it to something like that, and maybe try to move it in something like that. Maybe there. Cool, that's nice. So from there, I will name my objects. So this is the event. That's event. By the way, if you want to rename your objects, you simply double click on that, and then it will give you an option to rename it. This one is Edward. Right. So now we're done. Next is to maybe add another texture for that. Now I'll make that one black. So I'll simply click on my matte, which is, I think I should rename this as well to P, which is purple, and that one to G, which is gray. And I'm not a good, purple. I'll click and drag it just to duplicate it, and maybe rename this one to B, which is like black, and double click it, and I add a different blackish color. I don't like to make it 100% black, maybe just that, blackish. I think we will go into detail on the materials when we have had what we want. So I'll drag it on my event, right? Drag it on my event, and then try to hit render and see what happens. Crap. Anyway, I will try to hit here. Go to render region. That means I'll only render this region that I want to see. I just want to see how things will go there. I will not have to actually render this whole thing. So let's see what happens. It's really looking good, kind of good. Yeah, for a beginner, you should be excited with this. It's kind of nice. I like it. So let's take a look at our events. I think that's all right. All right, next is to go ahead in our materials. Right now I'm just going to concentrate now on our materials. Double click our material. Our material right now, I kind of want it to be a bit reflective, so I will go ahead and activate the reflection channel. From there, I'll make it maybe to something like not all that 100% reflective, because it is going to be now a mirror. So I'm going to add that reflection. So I can go ahead and go in my texture, freeze now. I think that's how they call it. Freeze now. We add this sort of nice effect. That's that nice, reflection. So I will reduce its mixed strength to something like maybe 50, and I'll reduce that one, the brightness, to something like 4. Right, and I think that's it. So let's check what has happened. Sorry, go to my render region, just render that and see what will happen. You can see that it's kind of now reflective. It is reflecting the floor and all that. Maybe I still have to reduce its reflection to something like the brightness, maybe make it a bit like 2, and this one to 4, 5, something like that. I think that is it. Go to my Edward text and activate the reflection as well. Make it the Fresnel, and reduce it to also to something like, you know, something like 6 in there, to something like 2 or 1, you know, something like that. From there, I think we have something good. Next is to add something that the reflection, that the reflective material will reflect upon, because right now if you try to hit render, you find that we are only reflecting our objects in the our objects is kind of, how can I say it, okay, the reflection is like, you can see that is happening there, right? You have some reflection, but we want to add some environment in which our text is going to be reflected upon. So we can see that the background here is totally black. No, that's not good, eh? So let's add a sky object. We go to this icon here, go to sky. So we have a sky object added. Cool. Now with our sky object added, let's move out of the camera. So now we are in the editor's camera. I try to move out, and I want to align my my plane, my floor, to be somewhere, maybe something like that, because as you can see, this is the what, more like where my camera is able to view. I can view from this angle and that angle. That's the wideness of my camera. So if I try to move the plane to something like that and go into my camera view, this is what we have. By the way, our camera, we are going, when we hit render, when we render the final product, we are going to be able to render only this section, which is not grayed out. I think you can notice that we have some grayish, it's kind of grayish here. That's the part which is not going to be rendered. Anyway, let's increase our width, our floor width. Right now it's 3000. I think I'll make it to 4000. I think that's alright. Why did I do that? I was trying to get rid of that this black section right here, because if I try to hit render in this gray section, we are going to have some kind of black thing popping up there. So I'll increase that to 4000 and make it like that. You know, that's quite alright. I like this scene already, and maybe just to make it a bit interesting, maybe I'll make it to something like that, you know, like that. I think that's it. That is it. Nice one. Now from here, I'll move back to my editor's camera and try to add some sky object, right? Some sky, you know, material upon which it's going to light our scene. So I'll go to my content browser. I think I'll go to content browser, sorry. Then I'll go to my favorites. That's where I put most of my presets. Then I'll go to visualize. Then I'll go to sorry, I think I'll just go to, sorry about that, I'll go to presets, sky, skies, and in here I can add the type of sky that I want. I think this one will do. Crap, I think I've messed it up a bit. Anyway, let's go to my favorite, visualize, materials, some sort of sky. Don't we have some skies thing? HDRI, maybe I'll just add that there and go to my object, sky. Sorry, it's kind of taking time here. Check on the sky, maybe add that material to my sky. Now I have something that I'm lighting in my my scene with. That is it. So I'll move on to my camera, right? So when we go to our sky object, we have its attributes. So when you go to our sky object, you might choose to, maybe right now we can, if we try to hit render, let's hit render there. Most of our reflections or our material's reflectivity now is going to be, it's going to sort of absorb that that sky, you know, texture that we added. if I try to make this material here a bit more reflective, you'll find out that it is going to be showing some the sky material that we added. Let's say I increase that to something like that. I think that's it. And then I try to hit to go and render section somewhere there. You'll find that it's going to be picking up sky object material. You notice there, you know, something. I think I can see it there, something like that. You know, it's kind of absorbing it. It's kind of reflecting our sky object. So that's the beauty about it. So right now, what I'm going to do is just to make that the way it was. I think that was around 3. That's okay, 3, and then yeah, from there I think we have made something cool. Next, maybe you like this, you like it the way it is right now. You're saying fine, that's it. I think for this tutorial, yeah, I think that's fine. Next, you can see maybe let me just make it a bit something like that and reduce the perspective to something like that. I think that's okay. That's okay. Now I would suggest that you kind of go ahead and do a couple of renders and see if anything is proper. But me, without wasting time, I think I'll go ahead and say I'll go to my render settings. Now let's go ahead in the render settings. In your render settings, you'll find out that when we try to hit render somewhere else, let me just go ahead with this section. You will notice that our edges somewhere else here, they're kind of not that smooth, right? We have them like, you know, not showing all that smooth. That's the anti-lacing. That's where you go ahead with the anti-lacing. So we go to anti-lacing, and anti-lacing right now it's set to geometry, so we can set it back to best. Once it's best, you can go ahead and select all these you know, these options. Maybe go ahead with 2x2. The more you know, the greater these numbers they are, the better it looks, the better the render result, but at the same time the more time it takes for you to render. So I'll go ahead with the 1x1 really, and then I'll go I think I'll go with the output. As I said before, I think I discussed this in the later tutorial. But anyway, in the output you can choose what the sizes of the image that you want to render in your final project. So maybe I'll going here with the 800 by 450. That's all right with that. And then here you're seeing this is not an animation. This is just a still picture. You can go to current frame only. So you will render the current frame which is active, and then you go ahead to save. You will choose where to save it. In this case, I'm just going to leave that, but you can choose it. You can choose to save where you want to save it. Right now, maybe on my desktop. I'll save it on my desktop as tutorial. Sorry, as intro to C4D R13 rendered something like that. Rendered, I think something like that would do. And I'll choose the file format to something like right now I'll just go with JPEG. Yeah, I think that's it. Yep, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Now you close that and then you hit render. I need to bring you this render, you know, this render preview, this picture view and all that. So I will pause this tutorial and continue it later. All right, that's the final part. That's the final output of our Edward event 3D text. Next, I think what I'm going to do is to show you how to go ahead and, you know, Photoshop to add all those color collections and you know, all that. I think that will be another Photoshop tutorial, since I haven't written any Photoshop tutorial on my blog, though there is a link to the Photoshop tutorials. I think I will post that one on the Photoshop tutorials with ready-made 3D text image and all that. I'm just going to add a few, you know, Photoshop magical touches and all that. That'll make it a bit interesting. And yeah, so thanks for watching, guys.